Welcome back. You are going to love our next guest. She is someone who knows something about overcoming hurt in her own life. This caused her to write a book, Freedom Fighters and Truth Tellers, breaking free from the hurts inside so you can change the world around you. You know what? That is what we all want to do. She's an author and a coach, Kim Gowdy. Tell me something, Kim. How much pain did you have to go through in order to invest a book like this and to write all of these pages so that you can change the world around you?
Well, I'd have to say, Laura-Lynn, that I was an unidentified captive, in that I didn't know that I wasn't free.
Wow.
And so 10 years ago, I was at a point where I was exhausted, I was tired, and I was overwhelmed. And I had 2 small children, and I was just really tired. And
is that the point where you didn't know that you weren't free? Like you were just so into doing life that you didn't know that you were not free inside?
I was just I'd say I was an undiagnosed people pleaser.
Wow.
And so I was just, my life was very busy, and it was just at a point where my coping mechanisms, they started to fail me. And so I just had these feelings that were coming to the surface. They were like feelings of anger and resentment and fear. And I just couldn't stuff them down anymore. I couldn't cover them up. And I was just so overwhelmed. And what would happen is that I felt like I was on this overwhelmed road, and I just couldn't get off of it. And just the busyness of life, and I was just...
And small children.
Small children.
Which of course is a tough time. But I think what you're saying is that all of that sort of, in a way, could mask some of the pain that was inside for a season.
Yes.
But then as the pain and the busyness collided, that's where it just came unglued for you.
And with at the time I didn't know that my love tank was on empty. Wow. And I really couldn't give what I didn't have. So I was just, it was like the wheels were falling off the bus for me. I was just, and what I thought is that I needed parenting wisdom. But the truth is that I had hurts inside that really needed to be healed. And I really needed to learn how to respond to my kids and my husband in a healthier way.
And do you think that you weren't responding the way that you should because these hurts were there and you hadn't recognized them or dealt with them? So it's almost like a canker, you know, a cancerous sore maybe underneath, and it begins to fester.
It does, and it just, and for some, I love people, and I value relationships, but relationships seem to cause me the most pain. And so what was happening is, with the relationship with my husband and with my kids, it was triggering stuff. It was just stirring stuff up. And so I thought I needed parenting wisdom, and so I ended up at a workshop, and a parenting workshop, and there was a woman there, and she was trained in psychology, and she was sharing about the topic was breaking the cycle of hurt and learning how to have healthy family relationships. And so I listened to what she was saying. She was talking about attachment parenting and how our behavioral styles are decided when we're young, when we're babies, really, how we respond to in relationships and to the world. And so for me personally, I was going back to the early years of the first year of my life. I wasn't with my parents. My parents were, I was conceived outside of marriage, and my parents, they married shortly after. And while my mom went to school and worked, my dad was in another province building a home for us. And so it wasn't until my mom was finished school that we were back, we were living together. And so for me, I wasn't with my mom on a regular basis. I was with other caregivers. And when she was describing that, she was saying that it just helped me understand a little bit about the way I was responding and my behavioral style. And so she said that if the defining moment for me was when she was talking about how if we don't deal with our past hurts, our pain, and our disappointments, that and if we don't learn to have healthy relationships, then our kids will carry our pain. That we'll pass that on to our kids, and that just really wrecked me. It was really, it was really something that I couldn't bear to see that my kids would happen.
So is this sort of the freedom fight that you're talking about in your book, was working through the pain, perhaps some sense of abandonment, or
Yes.
Not feeling maybe precious or loved or significant, and that's what what compelled you to write the book.
Yes, totally. It was really this. I sort of got some resources and I read more about it, and it really led me to pick up a phone and call a counseling center, and I went for counseling, and I learned how to have healthy relationships. I learned how to say no and to set boundaries, and just things that not a people pleaser would think about.
Right.
Right.
Well, I'm wondering how many people are watching right now and they're hearing a bit of their story in your story right now, and they're thinking about how they are people pleasers. What are some of the things that that you've written in your book that you think will really help to set someone free and find the truth?
Okay. Well, I said that I felt like I was on this overwhelmed road. So I
Yes.
had a question: could there be a freedom road? And so for me, the three things that I identified that have helped me, so they helped me then and they help me now when I feel stressed and overwhelmed, I check them. So the first is, am I connected to my Creator? And for me, that's Jesus. He's my Lord and Savior, and He saved my life, and He helped me. And it's not that the burdens and struggles are not there anymore, it's just that they're lighter when He's driving, not me.
So number one is getting connected in a positive and powerful relationship with Jesus. That changed you.
Yes, yes. And the second is community. I just really needed to know that I'm not alone in my struggles, and to have freedom fighters and truth tellers to speak truth into my life, and to hold me accountable and to ask me what's next on my journey.
But aren't a lot of people these days, they're afraid to maybe let people in to some of their private struggles, you know? They keep people kind of, they don't trust, or they keep people at bay a little bit, and it actually prevents you from getting that community support, doesn't it? But you just did it.
Yes, and if you can get someone to pray with you, I think it's wonderful that you have that people can phone in and speak with someone.
Yes.
Like if you can just get someone to pray with you if you're in that stuck place. And then the third thing is being connected to your calling. And so for me, I really needed to take time to invest in myself and my soul, and just really get clarity on what I value and what I believe, and who I am, and why I'm here on this earth and where I'm going.
Your purpose.
My purpose.
What are you here for? And does everybody have a purpose?
I believe so, yes.
Because sometimes I think we feel loneliest and most distraught when we don't know what that is and if we're significant. Right, and those are all those things you struggle with. Well, your book is Freedom Fighters and Truth Tellers, Breaking Free from the Hurts Inside. We all have hurts, and I appreciate that you've invested a lot of time and a lot of your heart into this book. So thank you so much for sharing the wisdom that God has given you.
Thank you so
We
much.
appreciate it. Thank you as well for taking this time to be with us. If there are hurts in your heart, may you find the Jesus that Kim is talking about today to, number one, be the person who comes in and heals your heart. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Kim.